Hello and welcome to The Wire Wrap, our weekly show where we discuss recent developments ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. With me today are Jomy Thomas, he's the Chief of Bureau of Malayala Manorama, and MK Venu, founding editor of The Wire. Thank you both so much for joining me. The first issue I wanted to discuss today is the recent reignited controversy around the Kachchatheevu island. So this is an island between India and Sri Lanka. It's uninhabited, it has no drinking water source. It has a small church where there's a Catholic shrine where there's a festival every March where people from both sides go to celebrate. But the fishing waters around it are relevant to both countries. There was a 1974 agreement between the two bilateral agreement between India and Sri Lanka, by which it was decided that Sri Lanka would have sovereign rights over Katchatheevu. But 2 years later, in '76, there was a region that India saw as more strategically important, which was the Waj Bank, over which now India has sovereign rights from 1976. Now, this was a largely settled issue, though it did come up in conversation, until very recently, on the 31st, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted an article that came out in the Times of India. Now, this article was based on an RTI response received by K. Annamalai, who's a Tamil Nadu BJP chief. And the BJP is now using this RTI response to claim that the Congress and the DMK, which the Congress is now allied with, gave away this island to Sri Lanka and with it the rights of India's fishermen. Now, this is surprising on several fronts. It's coming right ahead of both the Lok Sabha elections and the Tamil Nadu state elections. Sri Lanka is a friendly country. This was an agreed upon bilateral issue. So several Indian Foreign Service officers, retired ambassadors, etc. have questioned what this means for foreign policy if the government can suddenly sort of remark in this U-turn manner. Sri Lanka's foreign minister has remarked on it and said there's no need to talk about it. It was decided 50 years ago. And he's also said that this is an internal political debate in India.
Today there's a statement by the
exactly.
Sri Lankan foreign minister.
Exactly. So reflecting that he thinks maybe this has something to do with the elections and won't actually change anything bilaterally. The External Affairs Ministry has been asked, how many times have you actually brought this up with Sri Lanka? And it's likely it's been never in the time that they've been in power in the last 10 years. So Jomy, I want to ask you, what do you think is happening here? It's extremely unlikely that Modi and Jaishankar didn't know the history of the agreement and the context until right now, until this RTI response. That's not very easy to believe. So what does it mean for this old decided bilateral issue to be brought up for domestic political means? Some in the Sri Lankan media have said it's needless baiting of a friendly country. How do you see this?
I think the issue is having a sudden or rather a natural death. You know, because as you rightly said, Modi is saying, Modi, I think the tweet he's saying, startling revelation, new facts and all. In a way, I would, this kind of surprising in the sense he's a Prime Minister of the country and the RTI reply came from the government of India. Yeah. And the Prime Minister doesn't know what is there in the government records.
Yes, and he has
means he is not, I think he is not briefed.
Yeah.
The contradiction is that the same arguments about Congress party, he said last time in Lok Sabha in 23, I think it was in August. He mentioned the same issue, accusing the Congress. Yeah. And he said, DMK people keep on writing to me on this issue. Yeah. So he knew it very well. Yes. And as we always say, we should look at the chronology. Because a person like Annamalai filing an RTI application, and on the 5th of, I was told on the 5th of March he filed the RTI application, he's getting a reply. Though there were 3 or 4 holidays, he's getting the reply on 12th. Then suddenly, that too in a major newspaper, it's coming out. Yes. I don't know, I'm sorry to say, it's a kind of embedded journalism that an RTI reply does out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and interestingly, within hours, the Prime Minister is tweeting it. Yes. Newspaper report. And again I said, this startling revelations, new facts. Yeah. Then next day on again, the follow-up story is there. Again, Prime Minister is tweeting it. Yeah. And the Minister, I would say, taking all the official records to the party office and briefing, the media. Yeah. That means I don't think you can call it a government position because it's all done by the party. Yes. And even the briefing is done at the party office. Whether it is proper or not, I think, I don't know why the opposition was silent. Yes. Otherwise the MEA should have reacted because the MEA, the reply came not from the BJP office, but from the MEA side only, Yes. So they should have explained this is a position. Yes. But here the issue is that In 2000, when the minister was asked, what is the position, what are you going to do now? Then he is saying the matter is sub judice.
Yes.
See, the matter is sub judice starting from 2009. Petition by Jayalalitha came in 2008. Then by Karunanidhi in 2013.
Yes.
And the matter came up in the Supreme Court for at least 30 times. And sent ahead, said the position very clear, saying that, this is what happened in 74 and all this is it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if there is a change in the position.
In fact, the Attorney General had said if we want to change, the then Attorney General had said if we want to change this, we'll have to go to war.
Yes, that's it. So if there is a change in the position when the Modi government came, and now at least if there is a change in thinking of the government, then they should change the affidavit saying that, okay, this is our position.
Yes.
When that the government is not ready. And if there is it's such an urgent issue, then they should ask for an early hearing.
Yes.
That also has not been done.
No.
So I think what happened is that BJP kind of did a series of, they tried their best many times, to reach up some issue in Tamil Nadu. Means so they tried their best. I think like all the other issues, this also failed. That's it. It impressed. I don't think people that
On the ground residents.
yes.
And also, as he says, the BJP has no presence in Tamil Nadu, and they are desperate to create some disruption, rake up some issue, and they think that this issue would put DMK in a spot, because DMK has a certain position, Congress, and it could possibly they think that could drive a wedge between DMK and Congress, and this, which is not happening. Because DMK and Congress have in the past reconciled themselves on many other bigger issues, like the Rajiv Gandhi's the way assassins, the assassination, and the way DMK has a different position on how the assassins should be treated, or and Congress. I mean, on that issue itself, they have reconciled their positions, and this of course is, as Jomy says, it is dead on water. It's at the very start. It has all parties have figured that this is a desperate attempt by the BJP to rake up something. BJP through Annamalai. More so, the opposition now, what BJP has ended up doing is it has got the opposition to ask Mr. Modi questions about China.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a response saying that instead of talking about 50-year-old settled issue, why don't you talk about the Chinese intrusion and the Chinese occupation of our territory, where we have
Where there is no resolution still.
there is no resolution, plus where we still are in a situation where India cannot access over 20 petrol points. I don't know, 1500 square kilometers.
There's a lack of information in the public.
There's a lot of information. Mr. Modi's statement still holds that nobody ever entered, nobody ever occupied.
Never tried to change.
So I think the BJP ended up scoring a self goal by getting all these issues, by enabling these issues to come to the fore.
Bring it back into the news.
Yeah, into the news. I think it was a bad attempt actually. I mean, at best.
So nationally, if we say it, or even locally in Tamil Nadu, if we say it hasn't really had any resonance, do you think it will change how India is viewed in other countries, on whether it will stick by its bilateral treaties, by the agreements it's made in the past on sensitive issues?
I don't think, because there is today there was a report, some comments made by Austin Fernandez from Sri Lanka. He is saying that it's just a vote puller.
Yeah.
So that's how they are looking at it.
They do agree.
I think majority of people in the country also are looking at it like that. Only it's a vote puller. Again, BJP is not able to understand this. I think the psyche of people in the south, it seems, because particularly Tamil Nadu, the kind of efforts they made, the Kashi Sangamam or the so-called the Shengol, so many things, and even the recent interview with the Thambi TV, we see the Prime Minister, appearing a typical Tamil, way of dressing, and with the veshti and all, so many things. I don't think these days,
I think the BJP is a bit delusional. If you see Annamalai's statement today, he says after 2026, DMK will be history in Tamil Nadu. These are very delusional statements for a party which has zero presence, in Tamil Nadu. So.
Okay, I think we can move on now to the next thing on our agenda for discussion. which again maybe refers to how sometimes the BJP's words and their actions don't make a lot of sense when taken together. The Modi and the BJP have made a big deal of pushing a corruption-free image and Modi has recently been painting the entire opposition as corrupt. The entire India alliance, he's been saying, is based only on corruption. Central agencies have been acting against opposition leaders with a great intensity. But at the same time, the BJP seems very happy to welcome in all sorts of leaders who have past corruption cases against them, and then suddenly these cases disappear. Opposition leaders have called this the BJP's washing machine. You join the party, your sins disappear. And then yesterday, the Indian Express published a very interesting investigation on this, in which it said that since 2014, there are 25 leaders who have these sorts of cases against them who've joined the party. And of these, for
23 out of 25
yeah,
joined.
25 have joined, and 23 have got some sort of reprieve.
Yeah, reprieve.
That either the case is closed or it's in cold storage, no one is ever talking about it again. And these are parties people who've joined from different parties, TMC, Congress, NCP. We also had recently, one of our colleagues at The Wire, Shravasti Dasgupta, had a report on how several of these leaders have even been rewarded in some ways. They've been given tickets, they've been given star campaigner status. So it seems like once they've joined the BJP, this corruption suddenly is no longer visible. Meanwhile, those who choose to remain in the opposition, they're saying increasing raids, increasing arrests. We've seen recently 2 chief ministers, several other leaders, both arrested and raided. Venu, can you come in here on what this means for the BJP's sort of self-professed anti-corruption stand? Does it have any credibility?
See, Prime Minister Modi's anti-corruption plank has been badly dented. There are giant holes in it, about which I have also written in the past. After the Supreme Court judgment on the electoral bonds, the BJP and Mr. Modi they have there is no face saving for them anymore. Before that, what the Express investigation told us or signified is something that we all have known. What Express has done is it has just compiled all the cases, and as Jomy said, chronology, they have put together. So these days everybody, all journalism is about putting together chronology, even in electoral bonds it's chronology, right? Yeah. So when which company is getting some benefit, and after which that company is giving money to BJP, or
we should be thankful to that person who contributed that word to Indian politics, in that understand the chronology.
Understand the chronology. Amit Shah.
It helps us a lot actually.
Chronology samajhiye. Please understand chronology. It's Amit Shah's words. So chronology is coming back at BJP in regard to at least corruption, this plank in every way, and the fact that opposition leaders against whom they have filed, they are pursuing cases and they are coming back, Praful Patel being the latest.
Yes.
The list is there for all to see.
Also Jahnavi.
And Narayan Rane, the whole list,
starting from Himanda.
Yeah. Yes. So this is something which is so well known that the opposition has also coined a slogan of the big washing machine, where people get washed and join the BJP. And they have become so brazen, Jahnavi, that recently I saw on a channel, Times Now, which is a very, very pro-BJP channel, and there is an anchor who is also completely pro, she is asking Nirmala Sitharaman, so is your policy to take anybody who wants to join BJP? Sitharaman says, yes, all are welcome. Yeah. Now this,
and then she even repeats it.
She repeats,
So she's trying to give her an out.
So that to me was a moment of confession, if you please. Yeah. And this is something that BJP has been doing for the last 10 years. And if you recall, Modi, when he came to power, he specifically during his in his public meetings, he promised that he'll set up special courts to try politicians, political corruption basically, and they would do it within a time limit, proper within deadline, quick kind of disposal of this. What BJP has done is exactly the opposite. they are not disposing of these cases. They are just using these cases to get political capital.
Yes.
You know, Robert Vadra case, you don't know what is, nothing has happened so far.
Yeah.
They have several times the last 10 years they say we are going to arrest him, nothing. And Robert Vadra was linked to DLF.
Yes.
DLF has given crores of, biggest recipient of DLF largest has been BJP, electoral bonds. So, there are hundreds of such cases. So, it really does not surprise me, and Express did a good job by compiling it so that it comes back to refresh public memory.
Yeah.
That is what the Express investigation does. And I think it is a very important story, and it also links up with if you recall, Abhishek Singhvi had gone to the Supreme Court with a petition. Of course, the Supreme Court could not respond to it because it was difficult petition to respond to, where he just came up with data to argue that there have been 20 times increase in the number of cases against politicians. 95% of those are against the opposition, and so of course the Supreme Court could not respond to that on the ground that the Supreme Court said we need to have examine individual cases. We can't look at such a broad spectrum.
I think you are referring to that case filed by 14 parties, no, including AAP and BRS.
Basically, exactly.
Yeah,
the Supreme Court actually said that we can't look at a generalized issue. You know, we need to look at specific, and we know what's going on. You know, AAP, Atishi is openly saying that BJP is telling them you come to the party and you know. So,
and if it's a policy, normally Supreme Court doesn't go into policy matters. No, it's a policy of the government to target the opposition.
Yeah, but here ED and CBI and income tax particularly, it's acting as an extension of the party. You know, the way they froze Congress's bank account, unprecedented. 40 years I have been in journalism. He's been around decades. Have you ever seen the opposition's bank account been frozen? No.
You know, taking off from that, Jomy, I wanted to ask you something. We've seen this very increased action, these central agencies acting as an arm of the party, as Venu said. This is all happening now so close to the elections, right? A chief minister has been arrested after another one was a couple of months ago. Congress party accounts have been frozen. So what is the political messaging here? Is it a flex that, you know, we're doing it because we can, or does it reflect some nervousness, do you think?
See, you know, it's a kind of nervousness because otherwise there is no reason to do it.
Yeah.
Because why you are, so many things, as if you are in a hurry.
Yes.
And
just now a month before the elections.
And interestingly, model code is in place.
Yes.
Yeah, and these are all government actions.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. And what is the Election Commission doing?
Yeah.
Are they briefed, saying that, okay, we are going to do this? You're talking about a level playing field. You know, as I think Ashok Lavas had mentioned in the article he wrote in the Indian Express recently, where is the level playing field?
Yes.
Because, like in cricket, the home team gets the advantage of the home turf,
Yeah.
because that way the ruling side gets the advantage of the home turf.
Yeah.
And there is no level playing field then.
Right.
That is
absolutely.
It.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, what is the media doing then? If we mentioned the Kachchativu thing,
yes.
Because lately, I also have reported some, at least 2 wars, and we talk about embedded journalism during wartime. We are seeing political embedded journalism.
This peacetime embedded.
Yeah.
That is it. We have reached that level.
Yeah.
And there is no need for, I think, BJP to do any briefing, BJP to issue any press release, because that's what the press is doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, so that way, we have to, I think people have to think about it. We have to question the Election Commission. Election Commission try to be impartial and all, and we say control, the Constitution says control and superintendence of elections.
Yeah.
Article 324 is very clear.
Yeah.
But we are not doing it. They are not doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, Jomy, what surprised me was the Chief Election Commissioner's first remark after he announced Lok Sabha election, that press conference. He actually argued against the Supreme Court order on electoral bonds. He says we need to maintain privacy. He said we need to be transparent, yet we need to maintain privacy. Yeah. But in fact, I wrote a piece saying, where is the Chief Election Commissioner coming from? The Chief Justice of India very clearly said that every voter should know who is funding which party. So didn't the Chief Election Commissioner listen to that or read that order? So, that gave me the kind of very uneasy feeling that that he is also parroting the government line, you know, because the government was also saying that the scheme can be improved. There are weaknesses in the scheme. First statement by Amit Shah, but privacy is still something that we must maintain, and we all know where there is no privacy. I mean, what
the
kind
same commission had reservation about the scheme.
At the start.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so there is a. So coming back to the corruption plank, I think Mr. Modi's anti-corruption plank is now levelled. Like he's the electoral bond scheme clearly shows that it was their scheme. It was the BJP which created anonymity, and it was they got the largest number of the maximum money. So now now Mr. Modi comes up with such a ridiculous statement that at least now people know who gave the money and who received it.
Yeah, I was just going to segue into that as our third issue for today, which is, you know, recently all these revelations around electoral bonds. After the Supreme Court judgment, the Prime Minister didn't have anything to say about it. After he said the court said that the scheme is unconstitutional and said the SBI and Election Commission must reveal all the data. He didn't comment, but then very recently in the interview you just mentioned to Tanti TV, he said that, you know, all these people who are thinking this is a great win, it's going to come back to bite them, because actually it's because of us that we now know these things, and we can now trace this money trail. Otherwise everyone would have been giving cash and nobody would know anything. So basically claiming that it is the BJP that brought transparency in political funding using this electoral bond scheme. Now that's quite laughable, because the whole point of the scheme was to be opaque, was that donors, exactly, that donors can give money without people knowing that they have given money. While talking about this, I also want to bring in some of the recent revelations that have been made around this. Just today, The Hindu had an article on how at least 45 companies that donated to the BJP using electoral bonds have suspicious financing, in that they have either zero or close to zero or negative profits after tax. They are loss-making companies, yet somehow they are able to give crores in electoral bonds. There have previously been several reports on companies that were raided by the central agencies and then suddenly started donating money. There was the report around the approver in the Arvind Kejriwal Delhi excise policy case, who just after being arrested, his company donated money and he turned approver and was released. You mentioned the Vadra DLF case. There was a report on the Bharti Group's 150 crore electoral bond donation that came around the same time as the Modi government's U-turn on telecom law, which benefited the group. So now there are many reports on how this opaque system was seemingly being used for different kinds of quid pro quo, maybe even for some kind of threats being issued to companies. Venu, I want you to talk about a little about this, and also about what the Prime Minister said. What do you make of that?
See, the Hindu investigation today, in my view, is very, very critical, because it traces 45 companies, as you said. Out of them, 33 companies are loss making. They are obviously they are front companies. They are companies formed for the specific purpose of bringing money. There is no other purpose. It seems there is no other purpose. They are money laundering vehicles, which is something that Election Commission, RBI both had warned the government about, and Mr. Jaitley just brushed them aside, all the other opinions, and Mr. Modi went ahead with the bond scheme. Now we need to find out who are these the antecedents of these 33 companies which have given a total of 75% of the money have gone to BJP out of a total of, I think, 580 crores, about I think 470, they are about 440 or gone to BJP. Now the next phase of investigation, which I spoke to the Hindu people today. They said they are trying to find out the antecedents of the directors of these companies. Right. You have to trace who these people are. Now this itself completely demolishes Mr. Modi's claim, ridiculous claim 2 days ago, that at least now you know who's giving money and who is receiving. You don't know who is giving money, no, because these front companies are have anonymous people, the directors. So the least that the government should do, or the Supreme Court should also ask for, is to investigate who are the real people behind these companies. So this ED at the drop of a hat goes and interrogates or calls people for questioning, all kinds of opposition people. Why can't they call these directors for questioning? Please tell us, who do you represent?
Where did this money
Where does the money come from? And their combined losses, according to the Hindu report, runs into thousands of crores combined losses. And they are giving such monies to various parties, including mostly to BJP, 75% to the BJP. So I think this needs to be investigated. In my view, this could also be front companies which the political parties themselves have created, and they are running, because
these are just names.
These are just names, yeah. We have in the past, Jahnavi, we have investigated many small shell companies, run by politicians. So maybe some corporates are helping these politicians run these shell companies. So this is it's a Pandora's box, and there is a lid on it. And Mr. Modi is claiming that there is transparency. He is claiming that there is no corruption. I mean, it is post-truth taken to another level.
Absolutely, because throughout this time, the last few years, his government has been fighting so hard to try and keep that lid on, as you said, both in court and outside. In court, they said the citizens don't have the right to know.
That is it. The Attorney General is very clear, saying that the voter has no right to know. Exactly. And now the Prime Minister is talking about transparency. And what did the Supreme Court say? They ruled that there was no transparency, and there is all possibility of quid pro quo.
Yes. Which is now what is
now. See, this is very interesting, because you see this kind of an argument, BJP taking this weird logic, whenever things are not in their favor. For example, recently when the Sanjay Singh was given bail by the court, then immediately what the BJP spokesperson is saying that, okay, this is how, now look at it, this is how the agencies are impartial, and I think the judiciary is impartial. That was not the argument when he was jailed.
Exactly.
Then when things are not not in your favor, you suddenly change the goalpost.
Yeah.
And but another problem is that, see, none other than the finance minister herself is saying that she doesn't have the other kind of money to fight elections.
She did say that, yes.
So, but I think we have to think about that also, that then if not in this way, how will elections be?
To clarify to our viewers what you are referring to, Nirmala Sitharaman said recently that she won't be contesting this time because she doesn't have that kind of money. Those were her words.
That is it. Then what kind of money will be there to fund the elections? I think it's a serious question now.
Yeah. And if a party that's received 55% in these of
and
these bonds doesn't have the money, then who does?
The Prime Minister is that they are going to kind of do some repair work, for the present scheme, because he is saying there are some, something imperfect. Otherwise, then we will,
BJP already has 8,000 crores of these bonds.
Yes.
That cannot be reversed. In fact, Kapil Sibal has asked for that to be reversed also. See, if this were Jomy, if this kind of an illegal money had been acquired by some other private citizens or other in company law or even companies, there is something called disgorgement. They ask the money to be returned.
Yes.
So here people have demanded this money should be returned. Now,
if you go deep into it, then you can call it a proceed of crime.
It is proceed of crime. It definitely proceed of crime. See, after all, what is the case against AAP in Delhi? AAP, they have not been able to find single money trail to individuals, whether it is Manish Sisodia or Kejriwal or to. Then the Supreme Court told the ED or whatever CBI that why don't you make the party the accused, because it's at least that case can be considered, that money may have gone to the party. It is not proven yet. In the electoral bond case, all the money is going to parties only, and it's illegal. Supreme Court has said it's illegal, and it's gone to the parties. So ED, there's a case for ED to look at that also.
True.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The illegal money going to parties, all parties, but majority to the BJP.
Yeah.
Why not? But BJP will not, if you raise this issue, they will protect themselves and they will also protect the other parties.
That's true.
which they once did, if you remember, when Vedanta, illegal donations came from Vedanta, which was a foreign company, and they gave money to BJP and Congress. So, Mr. Jaitley changed the law retrospectively to legitimize that money.
Yes.
And then he came up with an amendment saying that a Indian subsidiary of a foreign company can legitimately give money to the party. So, Vedanta had a subsidiary at that time. Before that, the law didn't allow the subsidiary of a foreign company. It was treated as foreign company. So, this has happened before also, you know. So,
see, 25 years ago, I think Indrajit Gupta committee, discussed all these issues. Dr. Manmohan Singh was there, Somnath Chatterjee was there. They were all talking. This amounts to criminalization only.
Yes.
Nothing else. But they were also considering that corporate funding is a reality, and we need corporate funding, because the issue was on state funding of elections, how far the state can fund political parties. But the expenses have gone up. I don't know how they will manage now.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem, at least in the current scenario, I don't know how likely it is that action of the kind you're saying is required will be taken. But I think we do have to look forward to a lot of more revelations that will be made from this data, like of the kind you
mentioned. The other question, Jahnavi, which you raised, it's a very pertinent question. Why is this government, when it is so sure that it's winning this election, as per their own claims, 370 par or whatever, 400 par, yeah. Why are they doing this in the middle of elections, going after the opposition, freezing Congress's bank account, arresting Kejriwal. Yeah. So, one reason could also be that they want to just disrupt the opposition parties and make them distract their attention for at least, even if for 3-4 weeks during the campaign, they think that they have succeeded.
I mean, not just distract, even debilitate.
And distract their attention and also create disruption in the financing.
Yes.
Do they really need to do this much? That's what I can't understand. Because they have so many things on their side. The temple is there. Mr. Modi is there.
You're right, Jomy. They need not do it, but it's a pathology,
Yeah, that is.
it's a pathology. They cannot. This is a kind of psychopathic way of approaching something, So, you do it even if till the last, you kind of sweep the last floor,
Okay, I suppose on that slightly dark note, we've run out of time for today. Thank you both so much for joining me, and thank you for watching. I hope you'll watch again next week.